Hot off the back of a successful MOT result, what could be better than a little bit of titivating with the mirrors and the sunroof? What could possibly go wrong? Welcome again to Lot 76 Cars. Please like, share and subscribe to help me with that all-important YouTube algorithm. Thanks in advance. Relevant amongst you will have already spotted that the mirrors on the passenger and driver side are in actual fact completely different, and this can be an issue when trying to source parts. Be careful when you're buying parts from outside the UK. 2 years on the mean streets of London had certainly taken its toll on the driver's door mirror. Unfortunately, the case itself had started to come apart, and despite numerous attempts to try and fix it, it was clear that the clips were broken and the only way would be a full replacement of the door mirror itself. The actual door mechanism was in reasonable order, but unfortunately it's quite difficult just to buy the separate casing that you can see here, and almost impossible to try and fix the plastic. Fortunately, this is one of the few items that Mercedes-Benz can no longer supply, so the only option is to turn to the aftermarket, and I found this particular one at a well-known motor factor. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? It fits reasonably well. The rubber's not perfect where it fits to the door itself, but it doesn't look too bad. However, can you spot the problem? With the mirror refitted, the adjuster handle, even without the plastic cover fitted, actually is touching the dashboard, and you can't adjust it for the mirror position that you need, certainly in my case. Back to the drawing board. So this time we start with a good second-hand unit. The first thing I want to do with this unit is to try and lubricate it without taking the mirror apart, because I'm really concerned about the brittle plastics. You can see here there is limited movement in the actual mechanism itself, and there's a couple of ball joints in there that need lubricating. It's ideal to do this before you put it onto the car and to try and ensure that it won't be too stiff when it's fitted. Please bear in mind that these old plastic parts can be very brittle, hence why I'm extremely careful with them. I've learnt the hard way that things can break easily. Next up, a slight touching with some satin black paint to get the mirror looking its best before refitting. So first job to do is to carefully remove the plastic adjuster handle from the inside of the door. Using a small screwdriver, it's possible to pry the retaining clip from the plastic adjuster handle, and it should come out relatively easily without too much force. With the clip taken off, it's easy enough just to slide this plastic adjuster handle straight off. Next up, let's very carefully try and take off that plastic trim so we can access the mirror to actually remove it. The plastic panel itself should then actually slide off and just come straight over the adjuster handle, and you can now see it's exposing the screws and the electrical connector that provides heating for the mirror itself. I'd strongly suggest that you tape up the top of the door card to avoid losing screws. Ask me how I know that one. It's good advice, and I should have followed it myself the first time I did this. 3 screws out and the electrical connector disconnected. It's simply a job of removing the mirror itself. Next up, it's just a question of positioning the new mirror, putting in the 3 screws that retain it, connecting the electrical connections, and then obviously just removing the masking tape that I've used to stop myself losing those screws again. Just a question of refitting the plastic panel. I suggest you might want to put a dab of silicone grease or something, particularly on that top tab, to actually aid refitting and removal in case you need to do it in the future. Then, with the help of a small trusty assistant, it's just a question of checking the mirror to make sure it moves correctly, it's securely fitted in place, and I hope that I won't need to replace this again. Even the car doesn't have air conditioning, I've actually got quite used to having the electric sunroof, which both tilts and slides, but it does require some maintenance, and what I actually do is ensure that I use the correct lubrication on the vehicle and just use cotton buds to apply it. And you can see here how putting this in the sliding mechanism allows the electric sunroof to move freely. One thing is that I did spot when I was doing this the first time some normal grease in there rather than the special grease that you can buy from a well-known auction site. In actual fact, it had congealed and started to affect the mechanism itself, so just be careful about what you use. And if the worst comes to the worst and it does actually go wrong and the sunroof motor fails, there is actually a manual mechanism to the left-hand side in the boot, and you can actually turn that with a ratchet that's supplied within the toolkit itself, so you can still open and close the sunroof if necessary. Thanks again for watching Lot 76 Cars. Please like, share, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Thanks for watching.